Hi everyone, happy Thursday. Today we will, now that we've finished labeling a political and a physical map of Rome and its surrounding area, the Mediterranean region, we will examine and identify the physical characteristics and components of the country of Italy itself. We'll focus on its the mountains, the bodies of water, as well as its climate and environment, which is a big factor in the growing success of the ancient Roman people. So Italy, as you should know by now, is a boot-shaped peninsula in southern Europe. Okay, it's sort of right in the center of the Mediterranean region, and you know this because you labeled your maps the last 2 days. And it extends out into the Mediterranean Sea. It is surrounded by some smaller seas, like the Ligurian, Tyrrhenian, Ionian, and Adriatic seas. Okay, it's a peninsula, and we know that this means that it's surrounded by water on 3 sides. Its northern side is attached to, excuse me, the continent of Europe, and that's where one of the 2 major mountain ranges are. So there are 2 major mountain ranges that you've labeled on the peninsula of Italy, and it's important to note that we've talked about in class already, Italy was not actually a country or even a kingdom until 1861. So you're talking, 1,800, close to 2,000 years after Rome is around. So Rome is a city, it's the capital of modern day Italy, but Rome was the city that was the name of this entire civilization. So the 2 major mountain ranges to the north are the Alps. They are the largest, the tallest mountain range with the highest peaks in all of the continent of Europe. And then running the length of the peninsula are the Apennine mountains. And as you'll see, I always say it's kind of like Apennine because they're kind of like a spine running down your back, running down the back of the peninsula. And because of these mountain ranges and the hilly nature of the Italian peninsula itself, Italy also has some volcanic mountains, one such was Mount Vesuvius, which will erupt and wreak havoc and destroy the ancient city of Pompeii as well. We'll get all through that history. So when we examine the physical map of Europe, and specifically Italy, we know a physical map shows the elevations. Okay, and so this right here would be Italy, that boot shape. There's like the leg part of the boot, the toe right here, and the high heel part right there. There's the island of Sicily right here. But then you have these 2 mountain ranges. So green doesn't mean grass, it means lower elevation, as we've examined this year. Browns and yellows and tans mean higher elevation. The darker the brown color, the higher the elevation of mountains. So right here you have these Apennine mountains running the length of the peninsula, kind of like your spine. And up here you have, as you can literally see, if this right here is Europe, then the darkest color, which is the tallest elevation in Europe, is right here, right in northern Italy, which is why this is southern Europe. And those are the Alps. The Alps are really impressive. If you ski, people that love to ski go there. It's world-renowned skiing, and they're beautiful. So again, you have the Apennine Mountains here as a lower elevation than the Alps, but higher than the surrounding area. And you have these Alps right there. This is just one beautiful photograph of the top of the peaks of those Alps. I mean, it's up where the clouds are. Some of these elevations are in the, I believe, in like the 10,000 foot plus range. Okay, so very tall. Right over here is Mount Vesuvius, that volcano, and that's about 4,100 feet tall. And here's another image of the Alps where they just really, you have the hilly countryside, and it rises, boom, right up into these really, really tall mountains of the Alps, of the peaks. They're beautiful, yes, but not good for farming. Are they good for certain things? Of course. They're good for defense. If someone lives on the other side of these mountains, if you look at the map and someone lives over here in France or here in southern Germany, they're not going to have an easy time getting to you across those Alps. It can be done. It will be done, as you'll see throughout this unit. But not good for farming, good for self-defense. not good for travel. And when it's not good for travel, it means it's good for self-defense, because it makes it really hard for an enemy, for an army to reach you, especially through these peaks of these mountains like this. And this doesn't look too pleasant either. So Italy's physical geography. Not very much of Italy is flat, as you just saw on that physical map. We'll go to it one more time right here. You have the mountains of the Alps, you have the Apennines. You don't see a whole lot of green, though. If you really look right here in the north, there's definitely a farming region of lower elevation, which means flat. Green means flat and low elevation, especially along the coast like here and over here on the tip of the heel, but not a ton of it. And so what's not mountains is typically hills, as you just saw. The ancient people, as you know from ancient Greece, they loved to build their cities on top of these hills because it was all about self-defense. If you're being attacked, you want an enemy to come uphill at you, you are at a very advantageous point to be fighting if they are downhill. Nobody wants to be running up a hill at an enemy firing down at you. Okay? And this is true because the city of Rome itself sat atop 7 hills. And is located, that's a typo there, sorry, is located on the Tiber River, which you also labeled the last couple of days on your physical maps. We know that these rivers provide fresh water. A source of fresh water means that a civilization can live there. They can drink that water, they can bathe, they can use it for farming and irrigation for their crops, and they can also provide fresh water to their cattle or whatever sort of animals that they're domesticated, all things that we've talked about earlier in the year. So Rome, the city itself of Rome, located right over here, and I'll show you a map in a minute with the dot on it, it is situated with these bodies of salt water around them for trade and for fishing, but it also has at least a few rivers, one being the Tiber River, that provides freshwater source for the city of Rome even today. If you look here, so you'll see you have the Ligurian Sea up here, you have the Tyrrhenian Sea down here. You have to the east of this boot of Italy the Adriatic Sea. You have the Ionian Sea. And then all of this really, these are mini seas that encompass where Rome sticks out, Italy sticks out into the Mediterranean Sea. Italy today includes this boot-shaped peninsula itself, the capital city of Rome there. It also includes the country of Sardinia right here. The island, not the country, sorry, the island of Sardinia here, and it includes the very hilly island of triangular-shaped island of Sicily here. And this is what the city of modern Rome looks like. This is, ancient. It's a really cool photograph because it's dusk, then it's evening, the sun's going down. You see the hills in the background around the city of Rome. You can see the modern lights on, some modern buildings, but then you also see what looks like a piece of the Colosseum there, of the ancient, several thousand-year-old ancient Colosseum in the city of Rome, center of the city of Rome. So the climate is the last piece that we'll examine today. Italy's climate. The climate is, this word means, as you should know from 6th grade, it's the weather conditions of an area over a long period of time. I don't mean a few weeks or months. I mean years and years and years. Okay? So Italy has specific summers and winters. Italy has warm, dry summers, a lot like San Diego, Los Angeles, Southern California. The winters are mild, meaning not very cold, and they're wet, they're rainy. Okay, so really the majority of the snow that you'll see in Italy, although it can fall in other areas of the peninsula itself, it's going to be those Apennine Mountains, and up here, of course, the Alps. So warm, dry summers, mild, which means not very cold winters that are wet. This is good for growing crops. Okay, this is why Italy is in a very good situation and location for the ancient Romans to start settling, and the people that settled before the Romans, the Etruscans. Okay, Italy's mild climate allowed for a lot of these crops to be grown. Some of the just a few examples are lots of grains, which are used for bread. Think of like cereals, oatmeals, things like that. Fruits, grapes, which are like fruits, but also grapes are a good standalone fruit. Also wine, which was an important trade commodity and thing for the Romans. Olives, a lot like here in ancient Greece. You see it's hilly, not quite as high elevation in ancient Greece that we studied, but it was difficult to grow a lot of things there, and olives grow in hardy areas like these hills. Okay, having a large supply of food. We talked about this year, one of our first things was a large supply of extra food is referred to as a surplus, and it is a reason for Rome's growth as an ancient civilization. Okay, so we'll take a look at, you can see this is a lot of those grains, wheat and things like this growing on these fields. It's still a little hilly, and then you have the mountains in the background. It is dominated by water. Italy is dominated, of course, like I said, by water on three sides. That makes it a peninsula, and it looks pretty pleasant. It looks like warm waters, but it is hilly. I wouldn't say this is a mountain, quite a mountain, but it's hillier. It's hillier here, hillier here. You have mountains in the background, and this is what the environment looks like. You can't understand a people until you understand the climate and the things that they're up against.